I'm a big believer right now for the Warriors. All of these little games, they do matter. Not necessarily they matter for some championship journey. They matter for me, at least. And everyone has their own points of view. They matter for me because I want to see the growth of Jonathan Kuminga. I have really been dying to see this young man play. And it feels like in the last 12 games in January, he's been on an absolute tear right now. Now, we could sit here and argue about the woulda, coulda, shoulda of the last couple of seasons with Jonathan Kuminga. Would he be farther along had he played last year? Probably. Was he ready emotionally to do the things that he's doing this year? I don't know. That I don't know. And I don't think we'll ever know. Now, it's easy for everyone to criticize Steve Kerr and the veterans and everybody for not having a long enough patience with Jonathan Kuminga, but I also think that he needs to accept culpability. He's been complaining. He's been, dogging it at times. He has not been this version of Jonathan Kuminga, both maturity-wise, physically, and on the court. But let me give you some of the numbers of Jonathan Kuminga. And they needed that win last night. Their psyche needed that win. Their playoff lives, if you will, if they want to get into the box, because they're not even in the box right now. All of it depended on it. But in December, it felt like a month ago when he got iced out in that Denver game and didn't play in the second half, it was like, where are we going? What are we doing with Jonathan Kuminga? And since then, the guy's been on an absolute tear. Now, again, 12 games in January. He's averaging almost 21 points on nearly 60% shooting. 83 of his last 113 attempts are in the paint. Let me say that again. 83 of his last 113 attempts are in the paint on a team that we know has really over-relied on the three-point ball when the numbers haven't really been there in terms of efficiency from long range. They have been dying for a downhill, athletic, post-type player who could score in the paint. Now, he's not a traditional post player. He's more of a hybrid, but he is a downhill athlete. And you saw it last night when they were up, 3 or 4 possessions, and they went to go blitz Steph Curry with like 2 minutes to go, and he just lobs it over the top. And Kuminga, zero hesitation. Now, he did the hezzy move, but it wasn't I don't know what I'm doing with the ball. It was, I'm going downhill, and I'm attacking Tobias Harris, and I am going to lay it up at the rim. And he did. Nobody can guard this guy when he's going downhill. Nobody has the springs. It's not just the leaping and explosion. The second hops, you lay one up, you miss it, you got to jump back up again. Looney kind of struggles at that. That's not his strength. I mean, this guy Kuminga, who's stopping him? His first step is lightning quick. He's decisive. He's going to the paint. He's finishing around the rim. His free throw percentage is going up. He trusts his own game. He's being discerning. He's got 22 shots of those 113 from 3. And to me, that's the perfect sweet spot amount. Enough to make people honor you from out there. And he'll grow. He's 21 years old. But here's the key. Steve Kerr finally playing the guy. Steve Kerr finally trusting him. In his last 6 games, 30 minutes, 29 minutes, 29 minutes, 30 minutes, 43 in the overtime game the other day, and 39 last night. Thank you. Hallelujah that you're playing the guy 39 minutes last night. Hallelujah. And he's rewarding you as you reward him with more minutes. He's rewarding you with dynamic defense on the perimeter. He's rebounding better. He's attacking the paint. And he's adding a layer to the offense in the half court that Steph Curry so needs if he wants to salvage the last couple of years in a Warrior uniform. Now, look, I don't know if Kuminga is going to be there in time for the end of Steph Curry's career, for him to truly be an impact player, like 20-point every single night, no doubt about it type of a player. I don't know. That might be a year or two away from where we are right now, and it might not be in time for Steph Curry's, final little run. I don't know. But my God, if you told me in this lost season, Jonathan Kuminga elevated himself to top 2 or 3 on a nightly basis, impact players offensively, I'll take it. I will take it as a Warrior fan. I know we want to win championships every year. You just can't. You can't do it. It's extremely difficult, okay? I will take it. And here's the other thing that's been quietly developing over the last couple of games since Draymond's return. Draymond and Wiggins and Kuminga, can they play together? Well, Steve Kerr finally is playing Draymond Green at the small ball 5. We all know this. We've all known it. Oh, well, Dre doesn't want to do it. Well, Dre doesn't want to. Well, guess what, Dre? I'm paying you $25 million a year. You're going to have to play small ball 5. And yeah, at times I might, redundantly put out Saric or Looney or TJD or some other big alongside you. And yeah, you play a little 4, a little .4, if you will. But the best version of the Warriors has always been with Draymond Green at the 5. It's always been that way. You know it and I know it. That's what the death lineup was. That's what the closing lineups that won championships employed. Draymond at the small ball 5. Green, Wiggins, Kuminga in 85 minutes since Draymond's return. Plus 50. Plus 50. Now, it's not a big enough sample size to where I'm going to lose my mind, but it's a huge development. Kuminga and Wiggins and Draymond being able to play on the floor together. Now, can they muster up enough to make a run and get into the playoffs this year? I hope. I'm not counting them out. But they really got to go on a tear here. I mean, let's call it what it is. They got to go on a tear here. And Andrew Wiggins, I don't know, was that the most efficient Andrew Wiggins game you've seen all year? 20 points in back-to-back games, double-digit score in 5 straight. Kuminga playing well, Wiggins playing well, and even though Draymond had some foul trouble in this game, Draymond playing really, really well. And Draymond empowering Kuminga maybe has saved Kuminga's career with the Warriors.
8 days until the NBA trade deadline, Joe. You're not touching Jonathan Kuminga. You're not
If
right?
they trade Jonathan Kuminga, I'll be devastated.
That's pretty crazy, though, because I think a lot of people, if you just asked this question a month ago, people are ready to move off of him.
Well, and I understand that. And things change. This is why stocks go up and down. You know me, Mr. Wall Street, even though I have no money in Wall Street outside of my 401k, I am not trading Jonathan Kuminga. First off, the amount of money he makes doesn't get you anything back in return unless it's stapled to some other player. Secondarily, I would much rather see the upside of Jonathan Kuminga, a homegrown player, as he flourishes and grows into the player we've all been fantasizing over. Who is the greatest athlete to play on the Warriors over the last 25, 30 years? Is it Iguodala, who they traded for, even though he was older? Is it Durant? I mean, Jay Rich? I'm asking out loud. Kuminga might be the best physical athlete that they've had in the last 25.
Jordan Bell?
What?
Jordan Bell?
Stop that.
He was athletic. That duck could fly, Joe.
Jonathan Kuminga in a 5-6 game stretch has had a better run than Jordan Bell's entire NBA career. And that's unequivocal. And I want to hear from you guys. 888-957-9570. How you feeling about the Warriors? I know it's been doom and gloom all year, but to me, the silver lining, the unintended consequences of Wiggins struggling like crazy at the beginning of the year and Draymond Green getting suspended, it feels like, all year, has been the emergence of Jonathan Kuminga. And, we're going to have Anthony Slater on the Boxer and Gerson guest line at 8 o'clock, and we're going to ask him about it. So I'm excited. I want to hear from you. 888-957-9570. Bonte's coming in right now. I know he's excited. I know he's happy. No one's throwing a ticker-taker parade for a win over the 76ers. And I've seen a lot of things as we talk about Jonathan Kuminga. Saw a lot of Philadelphia people calling Jonathan Kuminga dirty over the play where the ball was on the ground and he was diving for it. Here's what I would say. You've got to understand the backstory of where the coaching staff is, the players are, Kuminga is in his career. Kuminga, we need you to be an absolute dog on defense. They've been saying that for 3 years. So when there's a loose ball and the guy dives, and look, it's a tough play. If that was our star, I'd probably feel a lot different. I admit it. I'll raise my hand. Hey, Bonte.
Hello there.
But on that play, I'm not faulting Kuminga because that's what the staff and everyone is asking him to do.
Philadelphia blaming something on the Bay Area. Blaming something on the Bay Area. Boy, they just can't get rid of us. No, it's not a dirty play. It's Jonathan Kuminga playing hard. By the way, Philadelphia should look at their own coach and their own medical staff on why they allowed Joel Embiid to play.
It looked like the sniper got him when he fell. My heart dropped for the guy.
He did not look right all game long. He looked stiff. He looked slow. I know he missed the 2 previous games, but there's a couple plays. I'm looking at videos sent to me left and right where he's just falling on the ground, just with no contact, nobody around him. He couldn't move yesterday.
On the Curry layup.
Right.
It looked like the sniper got him.
It looked like they played him so he could qualify for the MVP award.
Boy, that sucks.
That sucks because you have to play at least 65 games to qualify for an MVP. And we could get into that if you want a little bit later. I don't agree with it, but
he's a legitimate player. I'm glad you bring it real quick. He's a legitimate player that we can all know. Like, he's not load managing to load manage.
No doubt.
He's load managing because he clearly has some sort of arthritic knee issue that is going to linger his entire career.
Yep.
Would you agree?
Absolutely. Nick Nurse should have protected Embiid from himself. And he had his worst game of the season. The first game he scored under 20 points. And look, he's had an injury history. And for Philadelphia, it's about the playoffs.
Yes.
It's not about the regular season. It's about what you're doing in May and June. Are you competing with the Boston Celtics? Are you competing with the Milwaukee Bucks or the Miami Heat once they get their stuff turned around here? Because it's a matter of time for Miami does something and they're going to turn their season around. But they got to protect Embiid. But I heard you talking about Jonathan Kuminga on the way.
Dude, I'm just so happy for him.
And look, man, to think that he was out of the rotation.
I know.
6 weeks ago against the Portland Trailblazers. And then you think about that Denver Nuggets game that you cited where he doesn't play, the last 16, 18 minutes in a basketball game. This guy's had 7 straight 20-plus games, 20 points plus. He's crashing the glass. He grabbed another 7 rebounds yesterday. And, everybody, Steve Kerr, I thought he gave up so quickly on the whole Wiggins and Kuminga. Hey, they can't play together. I'm thinking to myself, boy, really? Can we at least see it for a week or two? When Draymond Green comes back and he's tied it all together. So now you get Wiggins hooping. He's had 5 straight games where he scored double figures. He's looking like he's starting to come around on both sides of the floor. Kuminga's playing well. All of a sudden, Andrew Wiggins all of a sudden gets to see a mismatch every night. He's got 2 guards guarding him. That's a mismatch.
I totally agree.
That's a mismatch. It's because of the play of Jonathan Kuminga. You have to honor Kuminga. He's strong as heck. Festus Ezeli keeps calling him Baby Giannis, but I'm thinking to myself, Kuminga shoots a lot better than Baby Giannis. He shoots a lot better than Giannis. He's got the 10-foot midi in the paint.
Yeah.
He can hit the baseline jumper. The game is slowing down. He's being more selective with his 3-point shot. He's playing with a better pace. He's defending his ass off here. And, I heard you talk about, maybe if he plays last year, it is criminal that Anthony Lamb is now in New Zealand.
I don't want to go back.
No, we don't have to go back. But the 3rd-year leap is real for him.
100%.
It is real for him. And that makes me say he's untouchable February 8th in a potential trade.
No,
he's untouchable.
I'd be devastated if they traded him. And look, I understand why they were reluctant to try to wear down Draymond because they were always going on these deep playoff runs because they would stack wins at a much easier clip. It's mandatory from here on out. It's small ball Dre at the 5, and you got to get Clay back into this line. I know he was sick yesterday. You get him back in, and I think they got a little something here. I don't know. I don't know what they can muster. I mean, they got a lot of uphill climbing to do. Right. They got to stack wins. But if you put Steph and Clay, and then Wiggins and Kuminga with Dre at the 5, now that starting 5 has some versatility. You can defend multiple perimeter players. You can score in the half court. You've got some athletes that can go back door. You've got some passers and some playmakers, and then you've got some shooting. So to me, I'm starting to see this starting 5 take shape.
It's unfortunate they lost those back-to-back 1-point games, right? Because the record could be a lot different. But look, you're a game and a half out of the LA Lakers in the box, right? 9 seed. You have championship pedigree with the core. We all get that. But I don't want to talk about NBA Finals. You got to just stack wins. And this road trip coming up, you got 5 games on the road. You got Memphis, and we know it was a nightmare on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. He had a dream back then. Well, it turned into a nightmare for the Golden State Warriors in Memphis. Well, you got to go visit them Friday. Then he got the back against Atlanta. They play no defense. No defense whatsoever. You go to Brooklyn. You go to Philadelphia, who may not have Joel Embiid. Yeah. You may not have him. And you may catch a break there. And then you get the Indiana Pacers on the back end of a back-to-back to finish that road trip. If you can go 3-2 on a road trip, but if you play well, because I think it's all about the form.
Yes.
Are you defending without fouling? The Sixers only went to the free throw line 18 times, 21 times last night.
And the Pat Bev,
Well, defend without fouling, right? 21 free throws yesterday for the Philadelphia 76ers. You didn't turn the ball over as much in the second half. I know you had 8 turnovers, but it's when they turned it over. Because the first half was nasty.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. But